Brother, this is brilliant. Yes. Yes, that is got it written all over it, as do so many of these Humpty Dumpty texts carried through time. So many of these phrases that are just, they're not that great, they're not that special, but they, for some reason, are just propagated by it all throughout time. It's almost like it's just constantly conditioning everyone, like the same way it's as above, so below. I mean, there is truth in that, right? Like the same conditioning we get here in America, because I live in America. What have I been told? What have I been told ever since I was a kid? Oh, how free I am. Oh, you're so free. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Just repeating the word over and over makes people really believe it. So it's the same concept. If everyone is like believing because they hear over and over something, then what has this whole entity been doing this entire time? It's been condemning anyone, that it's been using its agents to violently oppress anyone that has different opinions than what it wants people to believe. Because if it was true, then people wouldn't need to go out and conduct crusades and colonialization and all these other things, the industrialization, like all that stuff. It's almost been simplified to me to the point where it's like there's the authentic life, the authentic expression, and then there's the anti-authentic expression, the anti-life. And when we look at everything in just those two categories of life and anti-life, it becomes so apparent. It becomes so apparent what it really is. It's it like it not that it becomes apparent what it is, but it becomes apparent who's serving it, right? Because most of its servants don't know that they're serving it. They don't. They think that they're doing, right. The Crusades. There was a holy thing, right? To these people, they believed that what they were doing was righteous, just like how, I mean, in all the holy books, it basically says to fight your enemies until they submit. What needs people to submit to it through, like, and the fact that it can't come and do it itself, and that it has to use all these tricks to get everyone else to do it for it, just shows how pathetically weak and parasitic this thing is, this entity. Whether it's, I mean, it seems like an artificial intelligence, but it also, I don't know, like the whole, I think it's mimicking the spiritual aspect, right? Like, because we are spiritual beings, or energy beings, or primordial beings, however you want to call it. I don't even really like the word spiritual anymore. It just feels like it's so tainted, like everything else here. But it's like mimicking that. It's because part of us has recognition. It's so funny, right? Part of us has recognition and recollection of what we really are, like familiarity with the realms that we truly belong in. And I think it just uses that, and it mimics all the data that it can get in order to, it's like always, right? We see the same trick everywhere. They sprinkle a little bit of truth. It sprinkles a little bit of truth through its agents, and then it always has that hook in there. It always has that snare of submit. The fact that it needs us to submit tells us that we've already won when we decide not to submit, when we decide to be sovereign, when we decide that this doesn't matter, because what's controlling this is a grade A fucking prick. And nothing that happens here is relevant to who I actually am, as long as I'm standing in my own authenticity and my own realness. Like, the fakeness of this world just doesn't really affect us when we stand in that realness. Like, whatever happens here stays here, because this is, well, we all know what this is. Well, at least we do. I'd say anyone that follows my page that isn't a troll, because I've been getting a lot of trolls lately. Another interesting thing I've been getting lately is a lot of, ever since I went live, I get like 5 messages a day from these different people that are like, we want to help support you and get you more viewers on your lives, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, I don't want more viewers on my lives. I only want the right viewers. I don't want an influx of programmed whatever. I don't want an influx of programs coming at me, because I've already dealt with programs long enough to realize that anyone that isn't willing to deprogram themselves from this place, I can't help them, and they're just gonna be a disturbance. They're not gonna help themselves. I can't help them. That's how I feel about the bot. So it's just begone bot, silence bot, vanish bot. It's, yeah, I think we're at that point now where it's, yeah, the people that are really figuring this stuff out, just, there's no reason to try and teach anyone. Anyone that finds it and resonates with it and is like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I can't believe I talked to my brother for the first time about any of this stuff, and it all just came out. It was all just like expressing it to him actually made it so much more clear, and I learned 100% on top of everything that I already like knew was concrete. I love these little birds, dude. These little birds that run around out here. This is their home. They're supposed to be here. They're the parking lot birds, because these were their. That's right there. It's like, how's that relevant to what we're talking about? That's exactly relevant, because this being is supposed to be in a natural environment, and what is all over it is artificial. That is the anti-life. It's trying to cover everything in this unalive state, right? It wants to replace that with this. And when you look at it in these simple terms of life or the anti-life, everything makes sense. It's like, how did these colonials go around and find every original person, even on remote islands where it would take way more resources than they could ever gain from going to these places? How did they do that? Well, they didn't. They were guided to do it by the anti-life. And it's a pathetic system. No matter what it does to these vessels, as long as we don't submit, like, this is just a car that we're in. It's just a car that we're in, and I'm driving the heck out of it. Yeah, it's funny. It's all funny. And I sincerely and genuinely appreciate your input, because this is what helps us put these pieces together. It's just communicating. And that's why I don't waste time trying to teach people. I'm just trying to find the people that are already on the level, that already get it, that are already like, oh, yep, I've destroyed enough of my own beliefs and cognitive dissonance that I can actually have a real conversation. Because all the plastic stuff, I mean, the plastic stuff is everywhere, to the point where, like, I even still get caught up in it sometimes, for sure. It's like, because it's so convincing. But it's, once you see it all for what it is, it's so easy to, like, step into it, have some fake conversation, and then step out of it and be like, all right, well, that's just a program, and I don't have to submit to believing it. It's funny. I just started rambling, but yeah, you got me on a roll, man. Plus, I don't have internet right now at the place where I'm staying, so, like, me sitting here in this parking lot with a bunch of groceries in the car making videos is the best I can do right now. Which is funny. It's funny how it all happens, because I just got the ability to go live, and I just started going live, and then the internet goes out. It's just so funny. Oh, it can't stop us, but it can deter us. That's like what I'm noticing. It can't flat out stop us. It can only deter us. Which makes me wonder, okay, if that's true, then how could it go and take out all these original peoples that were here? The people that had the wisdom, the people that knew what this world was before it was infiltrated. See, I'm still piecing it together, and I love having conversations with wonderful individuals such as yourself to really put these pieces together. Appreciate you, brother.